about that as it relates to kids having fully funded programs versus kids having to pay for academy programs? Your thoughts on that? Your thoughts on how you guys relate with MLS teams, and is the system moving in the right direction with that?
I'm fully in favor of all the programs being fully funded. If anybody wants to step up out there, we'll meet in the lobby right after. Either that, or I'm going to call Chicago right after the meeting is over and see if we can work out with them. No, this is nothing new. This has been common more and more since the inception of the academy, that they want us to move away from the pay-for-play model. Right now in our organization, I don't know exactly the number, but I know with the 18s, there's a good group, that come from really tough neighborhoods and really tough backgrounds. We have 2 guys on our team, brothers, that are Liberian political refugees here in the United States. Spent 3 years playing or sitting around in a UN refugee camp. Really couldn't go to school, and were it not for the academy, they may not be going to college like they are right now. They got a little bit of exposure. Are we ready at this point to make it completely free and fully funded? No, we're not, but that is the direction that U.S. Soccer is pushing us. So, one of the big criteria is, what are you doing to finance your players? What kind of fundraising are you doing? We get looked at and we get assessed, on those things, because we do a lot of outside stuff that goes into supporting them, advice in college, nutritional advice, social development, how to behave when we're on the road, the bus trips that we go on. There's a tremendous amount of bonding that takes place, in those situations. And the more we can have them together in environments like that, where we're all traveling together as a team, the closer, the group becomes. It's no different from high school in that respect. And, they feel the same pressure to perform, whether it's in front of their own teammates or, in front of thousands of people, like the first year that they had the Academy Championship out in Los Angeles was going on when the Baltimore Bays played against LAFC. And there was probably about 5,000 people there. It was an unbelievable atmosphere with, salsa bands and everything like that cranking in the audience. And it was a remarkable game that was televised on ESPN, not locally, but on national television. So, players do face immense pressure in those type of environments. And they feel it and they sense it. But, getting back to the funding point, this is a direction that U.S. Soccer is pushing, and we're as academy clubs, we'll unfortunately be playing, a little bit of catch up, I think, with the MLS academies until, we can find that big donor or rich uncle that we didn't know about.
Alex, you grew up in a system that wasn't pay-per-play in England. So talk about that, and talk about the current system you're operating.
Can I just say one thing first? It's the goal of our local club to be no dues, not fully funded, but no dues for U16 and above players on the boy and girl side in 2 years. This is the first year that we've really delved into major fundraising, and our director of marketing is Kevin Bacher, who also coaches the 96 team. He learned a lot about fundraising through the University of Connecticut, where he worked for Ray Reid for 10 years. He raised over $100,000 this year for our club in 1 year. And that's our goal, and we hope to move in that direction as much as possible. Oakwood has never turned a player away due to lack of funding, okay, period. And we've been doing it for almost 30 years. So we do what we can. The travel expenses, that's another layer, but we are trying to move in the direction of no dues. And that's what the academy wants us to do. And we are being graded on that. And we only got 1 star out of 5.
Any comments at the end of the table there?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because across England, at all age groups, at all levels, it's very rarely pay to play. I mean, I remember back when I was playing at 13, 14, 15, I might have been asked for £3, which was $5 for referee fees once a week at the very most. I mean, I don't coach in the academy, or I'm not involved with the academy, but for me, you're talking about a lot of money per year to pay, and sometimes you're not getting what you're paying for. It would be great where there was a system with every club or every kid not having to pay to play, but unfortunately it's just not the case, it's not the reality. It is what it is. We do the same thing, try and offer scholarships to those players who are struggling financially or from tough neighbourhoods, but you know, as I said, it'd be great to see a system where everyone could be, you know, free, fully funded, and have the players play based upon their ability. Something Mickey mentioned on talent ID. You know, I'm sure it's a common question asked is how do we find these players who can't afford to pay to get involved in our programme? But unfortunately, it's a difficult one. You know, being part of Everton, they fund every bit of the programme for the kids from 4, 5 and 6 all the way up to 17, 18 and above. Obviously that's a professional setup with a professional club, 50,000 people per week, you know, going into that stadium helps them supplement all that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the case for the majority around here.
Yeah.
Here's my prediction. I'm stepping on a limb here. Over the next 5 years, this is what I envision happening, and I hope it happens. And it's not just a prediction based on what I think should happen, but it's, and no offense to anyone on this panel, I have tremendous respect for everyone here. All the players I used to play with are now MLS coaches. Frankie Klopas in Chicago, Peter Vermes in Kansas City, Billy Manning's my best friend. He manages Real Salt Lake City. I think the way they're heading, in my opinion, is they're going to go to an MLS academy system where it's the top tier, a fully funded program. Possibly the top elite academy clubs may be invited to be in as well. And I think what they're going to do, and it's my hope that they do it, is that they fully fund those programs, all MLS clubs. They add a social, educational component to it as well. So the educational part is funded. And then that way, the true soccer players who should be playing 10 to 12 months of the year will be playing together. And everyone else would probably be in the same ballpark and, you know, try to get into those systems. I think that's the best way to do it. It's the way it's done all over the world. I think my number one gripe with U.S. soccer is that it's not a unified system. That would be the best way to unify the system. And the leader of that system should be our national team coach. Whether people politically like him or not, he should be the driving force on how it happens. But in my opinion, over the next 5 years, I think that change is coming, and I think that change would be good.
We're going to open it up to the audience. If you have a question, please come up to the mic and identify yourself and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Pat Ferrandino. I have a son who just finished high school, and he'll be playing at UConn next year after he gets over his ACL injury. What Mickey just said, my son for 5 years now has gone down to New Jersey, and he's played with New Jersey Soccer Academy under Tab Ramos. In fact, Tab is going to be here tomorrow. We have a meeting, and my kid developed Mr. Walters,
The question?
An apparatus, and Tab is talking about it for developing younger players. What Mickey said about the system going to a MLS elite, a two-tiered type academy system, I think is right. There's talk about that already going on. But one thing that wasn't mentioned, and I don't know if anyone is aware, is that the Academy offers an option for players who opt out of the 10-month program. And that wasn't mentioned here today. Private school kids who are on scholarship to attend private school, kids at South Kent, for example, in Connecticut, who are there because of their ability to play soccer. There's an opt-out for those kids. They're able to play high school ball. I know Tab is a proponent of high school ball for kids. And in New Jersey, they're able to play both high school and club at the same time. Connecticut has restricted the kids from even training with the clubs during the high school season. Does anyone know, or the Academy gentlemen here, Rick and Brian,